So Rick Ross' first week is now coming under scrutiny. Allegedly, Rick Ross Set in Stone, his album, is set to debut at number 45 on the Billboard 200 album charts with 17.2K first week, which means 17,200. I gotta be honest with you. I think this is about par for the course for Rick Ross. And I know y'all might be like, oh my God, no. Yo, that line happened to come true crazy. He said I was Aiden Ross's stream before Aiden Ross had ever streamed. But yo, Ross's streams looked a little crazy this week, huh? Yeah, Ross's streams did look a little crazy. I can't cap with you still. Yeah, Ross came out and like the numbers on streaming were mad though. Now I kind of like, that line kind of hits different because I think the entire album, I think a recent Drake song like did more than like his whole album in streams. Ross's album streams was notoriously low. Supposedly he did less than 10K.
Today turned into a brutal day for Rick Ross, and his latest album is now getting slammed all over social media. What was supposed to be a huge comeback is suddenly facing a wave of harsh reactions, and people can't stop talking about it. A lot of fans believe he helped create this situation because of how he promoted the album. Last week, Rick Ross finally dropped Set in Stone after spending almost 3 months making appearances on podcast after podcast to build as much hype as possible. It was obvious he wanted this release to feel like a massive event that everyone would be watching. During almost every interview, he didn't avoid controversial topics like many major artists usually do. Instead, he jumped right into conversations about headlines that others might stay away from. He also took several public shots at Drake, and many people felt those comments were meant to keep his name trending across social media and entertainment news.
Set in Stone, the album of the year. Speaking to the true hip-hop lovers, never get caught up in the propaganda. Go to the product. Rose putting the dope music out. That's who fight my battles. Don't never come to the table with premeditated hate. When I was a young hustler, I bought Tupac and Big. It was about the music, and that's what it's about now. You gotta remember, since day one, when I was doing $1 million the first week, I was doing 150. 20 years later, here we are.
The game plan looked pretty simple. Keep the conversation going, stay in the spotlight, and make sure people were curious enough to press play when the album finally arrived. He even confidently called the project a classic before anyone had heard it, which pushed expectations even higher. But once Set in Stone was finally released, the online reaction went in a completely different direction. Instead of people praising the music, the conversation quickly shifted toward criticism, with many questioning whether the album actually lived up to all the hype. Streaming platforms, reviews, and social media were soon filled with negative opinions. Many listeners argued that the project simply didn't match the promises made during the promotion, and no matter which numbers or charts people pointed to, plenty of fans believed the album failed to make the impact Rick Ross was aiming for. Even people who usually don't care about sales and focus only on the music had strong opinions.
Drake stands. Can only imagine what that feels like. Well, I really couldn't, but damn, niggas say 3 albums are trash albums, 2 years too late. Hey man, it was fun while it lasted. You're washed. Where's Iceman? There's Iceman. The throat goat.
I'm just curious, as a fan of music, there's another artist that I'm a big fan also, just like yourself. And you've been having a little bit of back and forth with him, and in his last album.
I don't do back and forth.
There's no back and forth. No, it's just one. Any thoughts?
It's one train on the track.
Okay, is that track and Stand Stone? Can we expect to see one track?
It's one train on the track. That's it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and the train don't stop for nothing.
We not letting the fuck up on you, nigga. You hopped in beef for no fucking reason, nigga. You inserted yourself when you had nothing to do with this shit. So let's break this down. Nigga, you did 1.8 in your first day, which equivalates to 1,220 albums sold. The biggest flop of them all, nigga.
One of the biggest complaints was that the album didn't feel focused. Many listeners said it sounded less like one complete vision and more like a group of separate songs featuring several familiar artists without a strong connection tying everything together. Some even described the project as scattered, saying the excitement from the rollout didn't carry over into the music itself. Even with several big-name features, the album still didn't come together the way many fans expected. A lot of listeners felt the project never found a clear sound or strong message, making it seem more like a playlist playlist than one complete body of work. Because of that, people from all different parts of the hip-hop community unexpectedly agreed on something. As one fan posted, every side of hip-hop Twitter coming together to agree Rick Ross's album is trash.
Future flop.
He definitely needed Drake.
Okay. You consider Ross a flop?
Nah, not a flop, but he
needed a Drake care package.
He needed one track of Drake. He needed a stimulus package.
I'm lying, I'm flying economy. I bet I know who I see.
Rick Ross is trying to jump ahead of a flop. I've never seen this before. There's lack of promotion, no proper single rollout. It's kind of a mess. Usually, you got Drake. There's no Drake on this album.
That post spread across social media in no time and captured the mood surrounding the release. It also showed how quickly excitement can disappear when an album with months of promotion doesn't connect with listeners the way many expected. As more people joined the conversation, several reactions and jokes started going viral. One person joked, "The way his head moves in the animation is frying me." Another wrote, "Off the leash flow, LOL." Someone else claimed, "This sounds like someone doing a bad impression of those vocal inflections Kendrick uses." Those comments quickly gained attention as more users jumped into the discussion. Others started comparing the style to different artists. One person said, "Everybody wanna be Future, but not everybody can actually pull it off." Another added, "This is Juicy J's old flow. 3-6 Mafia influence is crazy in today's rap." More sarcastic comments followed, including, "Wrap this up by 6:30, and he saw Future competing for the Worst Song of the Year award and wanted in." Scrolling through the replies, it became clear that the conversation had turned heavily negative.
Because in one of the recent interviews, because you know I follow this stuff, people would notice that, oh, now Ross said, he said something like, well, I'm happy to have him win, don't want to see him lose.
Facts.
So is that a different place than when you were putting him on wax?
What that was basically, behind the scenes, it's like people want to hear me say that I hate Drake or there's a conspiracy against him. No, it's not. You know, if you put out an amazing album, congratulations. If it's mid, it's mid, you know?
Instead of debating which tracks were the strongest, many people focused on memes, jokes, and comparisons, making the album one of the biggest trending topics for reasons the team likely didn't hope for. The criticism kept growing with every new post, and the online discussion seemed to build more momentum by the hour. Still, not every reaction could be called fair criticism. There's a big difference between saying, "I listened to the album and I didn't like it," and dismissing an artist simply because of their age or how long they've been making music. Those are two completely different conversations. Comments like that sounded less like music reviews and more like personal opinions that didn't really explain what people disliked about the album itself. Even so, the criticism kept pouring in from every direction. One person joked, shaking his head, "Even he knows it's trash." At the same time, a few listeners did say they enjoyed the project, but those positive reactions were quickly buried under a much larger wave of negative posts. One viral comment seemed to capture the mood across social media. It read, "Oh, so he really dropped this
project on a new album."
The perspective Rose giving you. You gotta realize I came in 20 years ago, every day I'm hustling from the mud to the marble. So now the perspective from the penthouse down to the streets, and we're gonna give you that perspective.
But some people would say you came in the game talking that shit.
I did. It was always about getting to the money. You know, I don't know if this shit went over niggas' heads. We talking about every day we hustling. Every day we going to get it. The White House. These are records on the first album. We speaking real estate. Buy back the block. That's what it always was. It may be just because it came to fruition in front of niggas' eyes. Some of it is unbelievable, but it's here.
So when you say a different perspective on this album, is there a difference in how it's executed today versus how you came in?
No, just the difference in the mindset. Nigga got a $500 million mindset now. This ain't the nigga trying to get his first 10. Cause when you get 1, you know you can make it to 10. You get 10, you can make it to 100. Don't let nobody fool you. You get 100, you could get a B.
This trash album with this trash cover, that trash visualizer, and that trash promo, just to hit us with a trash flow like that. Whether people agreed with that take or not, it became one of the posts that fueled the online conversation even more. As the reactions kept piling up, it became obvious that many people across the hip-hop community were reaching similar conclusions. The rollout, the cover art, the visualizers, the promotion, and the music were all being criticized at the same time. Instead of one issue dominating the discussion, nearly every part of the release became a target, creating a backlash that spread across social media at lightning speed. But here's where the story took another unexpected turn. Sometimes an artist can brush off negative reviews by pointing to huge sales or streaming numbers and saying, "The reviews don't matter because the fans showed up." That argument has worked for plenty of major releases in the past, even when critics weren't impressed. According to early reports though, Rick Ross didn't seem to have that safety net this time.
Set in stone, baby. Just the title just represent, just etching every move I made over the last 20 years. Here we are, 20 summers later. We the big dogs, you know what I'm saying? And we still hustling, we still enjoy the music. Something that we love to do. I love to do it. I love to make music. You know what I mean? When the shit hot, it's hot.
As the online criticism continued to grow, attention quickly shifted toward the album's projected chart performance, and many people started watching those numbers just as closely as the reviews. Early projections suggested that Set in Stone could debut outside the Billboard 200's top 20, with estimates of fewer than about 26,000 equivalent units during its opening week. While those figures were only projections at the time, they quickly became another major talking point online. Instead of celebrating a big debut, more people started asking whether the album would reach the level many expected from a veteran artist with Rick Ross's track record. After months of interviews, bold claims, and a massive promotional campaign, the conversation had changed completely, and the spotlight had shifted away from the rollout and onto the album's early reception and projected performance.
Yo, that line happened to come true crazy. He said I was Aiden Ross's streams before Aiden Ross had ever streamed. Well, yo, Ross's streams looked a little crazy this week, huh? Yeah, Ross's streams did look a little crazy. I can't cap it still. Yeah, Ross came out and like the numbers on streaming were mad low. Now I kind of like, that line kind of hits different.
The conversation was no longer about the album rollout. It had shifted to one big question: would the numbers actually live up to all the hype? As more projections started appearing online, the outlook became even harder to ignore. Some early reports suggested the final total could end up much lower than many fans had expected, with speculation that the album might even struggle to secure a spot on the Billboard 200. Of course, chart projections can always change before the official results are released. Even so, those early estimates sparked another huge debate across the hip-hop community. Many people pointed out that an album's opening day is usually its biggest streaming day, because that's when excitement is at its highest, with fans rushing to hear the music as soon as it becomes available. Because of that, the first day streaming numbers received even more attention than usual. Instead of the discussion building excitement around the music, more people focused on the possibility of a disappointing chart debut.
At the end of the day, you need a hit song that's current to kind of sell music. Not that shocked by 17.2. Now, I'm also not going to protect Ross because of how he talks, and he's been talking about Drake, saying Drake ain't shit. I think fans are right to say, well, Ross, you flopped. Bro, what are you talking about?
Critics argued that if those projections turned out to be accurate, they would add even more pressure to an album that was already receiving heavy criticism. Meanwhile, supporters hoped the official results would tell a different story and outperform the early predictions. No matter which side people were on, what was supposed to be a major comeback had quickly turned into one of the most talked about album releases of the week. Fans, critics, and commentators were all waiting to see whether the final chart results would match the early projections or completely change the conversation. The first day after an album drops is usually the biggest moment of its entire release. That's when fans stay up until midnight, press play right away, and help create the strongest streaming numbers the project is likely to see. After that, it's completely normal for daily streams to slow down as the week
Blake Flaws. Ricky Rose album, boy. They better, and when y'all review Ricky Rose album, hey man.
continues, with many albums seeing noticeable declines depending on how well listeners connect with the music. According to figures being shared online, Set in Stone opened with around 1.8 million first-day streams, translating to roughly 1,200 equivalent album sales. Those numbers immediately became another major talking point because many people view opening day performance as an early sign of the level of interest surrounding a new release. Even though official chart results were still pending, the debate was already heating up across social media. Even if the album had followed the kind of streaming drop that major releases from artists like Drake or Kendrick Lamar often experience.
These old had to put albums out because if it flopped, that's all they ever had to lay on. Rose ain't got that issue, baby. I could just lean back like that.
Many commentators still believed it would have faced a difficult path toward reaching the weekly numbers needed for a stronger chart position. Because of that, the conversation quickly moved away from the actual songs and turned into a debate about the project's commercial performance. Some listeners started questioning whether the entire promotional strategy failed to connect with the audience. Others wondered if releasing more singles earlier, creating a different rollout, or using another marketing approach could have changed the way people responded. Whatever the reason, those early streaming numbers became one of the biggest stories surrounding Set in Stone, and the debate only became louder as more fans joined in. Many longtime hip-hop fans also called the situation surprising, especially because of Rick Ross's reputation and the successful career he has built over decades. For an artist with his history, expectations were naturally much higher, which made the reaction stand out even more. Of course, rival fan bases quickly entered the conversation too.
And watching these sales, people are, kind of like processing, like, is this guy even who he says he is?
All our prices is set in stone.
Drake supporters especially had plenty to say after the early numbers began circulating. One viral comment joked, "Ain't no way Sexy Song for You got more streams on its 516th day," and similar posts spread quickly as fans compared streaming figures across different projects. Around the same time, an interview clip resurfaced where Rick Ross explained that he wasn't focused on album sales and cared more about creating quality music than chasing numbers. Whether the clip was old or new, it immediately became part of the larger debate. Critics argued that this mindset often carries more weight when an album earns strong praise from fans and reviewers. There have been plenty of cases where albums didn't dominate the charts, but still gained major respect because of their quality. Many people pointed to Killer Mike as an example of an artist whose work received strong critical recognition without becoming a massive commercial hit.
What's one thing you hate that motherfuckers be talking about you, like on the internet, that you hate that?
I'm gonna be honest, I ain't tripping. Yeah, cause if it's some good funny shit, I could enjoy it too.
Now, are you putting the Drake beef to rest?
Honestly, I discuss a lot of things. Set in Stone is all about etching a little bit at a time.
I don't understand. You're squashing the beef.
We'll have
So
to
I don't know
see.
if that means barking
Ricky
it up.
Rose is
However, many online reactions suggested that Set in Stone was facing criticism in both areas at once. Whether those opinions were fair or not, the combination of negative reactions and disappointing projections made the conversation even louder, turning a release that was expected to be a major moment into one of the week's biggest debates. Many critics argued that the biggest problem with the rollout wasn't only the negative reaction to the album itself, it was the massive expectations that were created before anyone even heard it. For months, Rick Ross heavily promoted the project, confidently calling it a classic and suggesting that only a small number of artists were operating at his level. Because of that, some listeners felt the conversation became harder to defend once the album received widespread criticism. After building so much confidence around the release, the message of "I don't care about numbers, I don't care about album sales, I just care about the quality of the music."
when it come to making moves, I'm telling y'all this because I'm getting ready. I'm doing some, album shit, right? But for the ones that want to know, this album number 12, Rose, how are you always so confident when it come to your business, because it go the way I wanted to go? My album come out, I'm already paid before the album come out. It's Rose. I don't know when them niggas sit on them podcasts doing all them little deals, I don't know what little niggas y'all talking to. The industry has changed, and guess what? As a boss, you put the number up there. This is what we gonna do just to do business with me. I've sold records, nigga, for the last 20 years. You know what I do, not just for myself, but the entire brand. Rose paid. I pray y'all niggas get paid before the album come out, nigga, because when you put the album together, that's the work.
Didn't land the same way for everyone. Many fans felt that statement didn't fully match the energy and messaging used during the promotional run. After countless interviews and bold statements, people expected the final product to prove the confidence behind the campaign. That's why many online reactions focused on what they saw as a change in tone, with some arguing that the explanation felt different from what had been presented before the album arrived. A major part of the conversation also connected back to Rick Ross's comments about Drake during his interviews. Throughout the rollout, he criticized aspects of Drake's music and success, even though Drake's recent projects had generated major streaming numbers and produced several successful songs. Because of those previous remarks, some fans felt the situation had come full circle once Rick Ross's own album faced criticism and questions about its commercial performance.
A couple days before, 50 Cent was hearing that he was going to do less than 2,000, which clearly isn't the case. But 50 was having fun with it regardless. He's like, I saw your record sales, LOL. 2,000? What the fuck?
The debate wasn't just about sales numbers, it was about the contrast between judging another artist's results and then receiving similar attention when your own project is under the spotlight. That comparison became one of the biggest discussions online. Then, another layer was added when 50 Cent appeared to hint that he had seen Rick Ross's reported sales numbers, creating even more speculation across social media. Whether those claims were accurate or not, they added more fuel to the ongoing debate and kept people watching for every new update. According to the online discussion, one reason there was limited official information early on was because the projected sales figures were reportedly lower than expected. That uncertainty only made people more curious, with fans waiting to see what the final numbers would reveal. That sparked even more speculation after 50 Cent shared a post claiming, "Yo, I just saw your record sales. LOL 2000, what the F?"
Morning glory, baby. Listening to the #1 record on iTunes. For the streamers, keep streaming, downloading. Everybody that's getting their physical vinyls, physical CDs, their exclusive merch. Good looking, baby. Album of the year. Listen to the vibes, the production, the wordplay. It's a motherfucking boat, you heard me?
While those numbers were not officially confirmed in that post, many people connected the comment to the early streaming estimates that had already been circulating online. For a lot of fans, the bigger conversation wasn't just about the number itself, it was about the irony surrounding the entire situation. Rick Ross had previously criticized another artist's album and called it a flop, even though that project reportedly moved over 400,000 units in its first week. Because of those past comments, many people online quickly pointed out the contrast when Set in Stone began facing criticism and much lower projections. The conversation grew even louder when 50 Cent followed up with another post referencing Mr. Recoup and continued joking about the album's reported performance.
Rick Ross is trying to jump ahead of a flop. I've never seen this before. There's lack of promotion, no proper single rollout. It's kind of a mess. Usually, you got Drake. There's no Drake on this album.
He also shared older clips of Rick Ross confidently talking about being the boss and questioning other artists' success, which made the online back and forth even more entertaining for people watching the drama unfold. Whether you believe the criticism is deserved or think the reaction has gone too far, there is one major takeaway from this entire situation. When an artist makes huge statements, sets high expectations, or publicly challenges other artists, people are going to pay close attention when it's time to judge their own work. That's exactly why Set in Stone became such a major talking point across the hip-hop community. The debate wasn't only about one album, it was about expectations, promotion, competition, and how quickly public opinion can change. Now it's your turn to share your thoughts. Do you think the backlash against Set in Stone is justified, or do you think people are being too harsh on Rick Ross? Drop your opinion in the comments below because I want to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more hip-hop updates, and share this video with other fans who follow the latest music news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.